Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the mark of unpopular reviews, and tonight we are bringing you a special episode of Dark Side of the Ring. So tonight, I'd like to introduce to you my co-host, the lovely and amazing Miss Katrina Storm.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing, Katrina?
I'm good, you.
Good, good, good. Excited to talk about this show. And we are also joined by the one and only Mr. Sexy Decoy, Stan.
What's up? What's up? What's shaking, everybody?
Chilling, 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 chilling. So, guys, um, Dark Side of the Ring. I personally really like this show. I'm really liking these episodes, and this episode was definitely a hit for me personally because I have always been a real big fan of Mr. Jerome New Jack Watson, and I have too much to say. You know what? So before I get into the tangent,
Talk
I'm
about
gonna
it.
just let y'all.
Let's go. Let it rip.
I would just let y'all. I was just,
Tonight,
you know what I'm saying?
we let this
Because
live.
no, I'm the old head in the group. So the thing is that I've seen this guy in person at ECW. And after watching this show, I wish that I had watched Smoky Mountain Wrestling because you know, one thing that I always liked about New Jack was his promos. It's just that I was introduced into New Jack during the ECW era. Yo, what's up, Willie? How you doing, man?
Hey, Willie.
So yeah, I was introduced to New Jack during that time, and some of those things that he did do, I was able to see live from the Elks Lodge. Shout out to the Elks Lodge from the ECW days. So so yeah, no, I mean, what did you guys think about this documentary? If I
So like you, I actually knew of him from ECW. I didn't know anything before ECW as far as him. It was wild. Like I already knew he was a bit crazy, but then watching him talk, it's just like he's wild. Like he just gave like I respect it to the fact that he really give no shits, and I always respect the person if you're gonna stick to that. You stick. He stuck to that, but he's wild. Like I didn't like. I knew he was wild, but I think that kind of just reiterated it for me watching him like talk and then him and like Jim Cornette and stuff, and I'm just like, yo, he was crazy as hell. He was crazy, but like crazy like because it gave us I'm not gonna sit here and say I was like a really big fan of ECW. There were people I liked in ECW, but he kind of gave that grungy, like dirty type of wrestling. If that's the kind of wrestling you like, he was definitely part of the people that gave that really dirty, grungy, like real feel. So it was a really nice perspective for me. Like, yo, you really don't give no shits, but like you crazy, but like in a good way, but it's crazy. Like you're a little crazy. Like he's crazy.
Hey, Mike, ECW, That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Actually, you know what? I'm about to do something. All right. Yeah. So Stan, what'd you think about this?
um, it's crazy because I got into New Jack like well after ECW because I didn't really watch ECW like when it was like actively going on. But I got into New Jack about I got into New Jack later on when I was like in high school, right? Started looking at like clips about this guy, and I immediately became a fan just because of how raw and how real. I always wanted to see somebody like him in the WWE, and I always wondered like that going like what would it be like to have like somebody that was like that raw and that rugged and that uh, uh, uncomfortable in that kind of space.
I
So to
mean,
go back and see that they actually had somebody that not only was that but embodied it to the most extreme levels was just that's something that captivated me of his promo work and yeah, like his promo work more than his ring work, honestly.
Yeah.
But then
his
hearing the
promo
legendary
was
stories, of
right.
course, all the legendary stories that we all know, I'm sure we'll all touch on. But like New Jack he's somebody. The thing about how'd y'all feel about the thing, the documentary? Do y'all feel like it touched on everything?
Well, you know what? Like, in me personally, there's for certain things, there's mixed feelings because and I don't know if you guys want to go topic by topic, but like, I'll give you an example: the mass transit incident.
Mm,
Um, in my opinion, the kid knew what the fuck he was doing. Like,
absolutely.
you're 17 years old. You lied about your age, number one, and you went in there and you knew what you were doing. Now, the part where I have mixed feelings about it is that, I mean, yo, why are you going in there with a freaking exacto knife? That's a bit extra.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. That's a bit extra. So I can't really completely fault the kid, but then at the same time, you knew, hey Marissa, you knew
Hey.
specifically what you were getting into. So like, I mean, in my opinion, you definitely cannot fault New Jack for that. But at the same time, he definitely did push it too far with the exacto knife. But and the funny thing is, and this shit makes me laugh every single time, I was high as fuck. I was high. I was high as
At
fuck.
least he was
And
honest.
I fucked it up.
Told you.
I was just waiting for him to I was just waiting for a little vignette of like um Konya, what damn, I can't believe I forgot his name right now. Charlie Murphy. What the fuck? Rick James. I was just looking for a Rick James vignette on the side saying, cocaine is a hell of a drug. I was just waiting for that shit because every single time I was high as fuck and I fucked him up. That shit
But like,
was great.
man, like, but that was the thing though. Like, if you look at all the incidents that take place, and including that one,
Mm-hmm.
you can obviously make the argument that my man's overreacted, but that was the key. He reacted.
Mm-hmm.
There was always and there was always a step before that that would explain why that happened. Like if you
Mm.
saw when the Sandman found out why New Jack did what he did to that kid, he was like,
That's another
oh,
one.
because apparently it's a sign of disrespect to go to a veteran if you're cutting your teeth in the business. Is disrespectful to go to a veteran, tell that veteran what you're finna do to his body.
Exactly. And now the kid lies about his age and doesn't know shit about the business and then decides to just come in there and do that. Plus, he even left his peoples.
Mm.
Because that's another one that was messed up, in my opinion, because he went in there with the whole midget gimmick, and as soon as there was an available space, bomb, he goes in there, lies about his age, and then gets that whole situation popping. So, what'd you think about it, Katrina?
I mean, I'm not really a fan of when people. I feel like if you know to lie about your age, you're not that oblivious to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in general, like I would say that yeah, kids or teens might not be as like mentally developed, so they might make mistakes, but in situations when you're lying that much about your age to do something that you probably, or putting yourself in a situation where it went to that type of situation, you're
Mm-hmm.
not completely innocent if with that regard, because you knew that going in that okay, well, I probably shouldn't have lied. Did he go a little far? Yeah. I definitely think he went far, but I feel like he always kind of went too far. It was one of those
Mm-hmm.
situations where I feel like New Jack was always going too far. Like somebody had to tell you, like, homie, chill. Like he needed
Yeah.
somebody. I don't know who, but somebody needed to tell him a few times, just like you need to just a little bit pull it back a little bit. But I do think the kid shouldn't have. I feel like in situations like that, the saying is what sometimes a hard head makes a soft bottom. It's like one of those situations like, homie, you lied. like you
Right.
put yourself in a situation that could have been really worse than it was. And I feel
Yeah.
like just as a parent, like I would be mad if my kid did some shit like that. Like I will be
Mm-hmm.
mad. Like why are
Cocaine.
you putting yourself, in a situation like that? And now we sit here doing something totally different. So I feel like, yeah, he was wrong, but then I think New Jack did need to kind of tone it down a bit. Sometimes he like I don't know who his peoples was, but they needed to like, yo, homie, get it
Mm-hmm.
together or something. Because sometimes I just feel like he went just a little bit, like he pushed it a little bit more than he probably should have pushed it.
Mm.
He didn't belong
I
in the
mean,
ring.
like,
Like, you can make the argument that my man's, again, you don't really like to say this, but like, he's the type of person that would do well in he would do well behind bars. You know.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
if that
yeah,
happened to him,
definitely.
like God forbid that ever happened to him, like he'd be
Hmm.
alright. you know.
Hmm.
You know.
I
But
mean, but you know what though, like, and I don't know if this had come with age, but you could definitely see that there is somewhat of a softer side to him. However, he's
mm,
got a short fuse.
yeah.
Definitely got a short fuse. So now the one thing that I definitely appreciated, which makes me want to watch Smoky Mountain Wrestling, is the promos.
Mm,
Like, and mind you, like, he's infamous for his promos, so wrestling fans have seen them on YouTube and things like that. But the one that I remembered was the OJ Simpson
mm.
trial. Because the whole thing with we got two more. We got two more that we got out. Good job, OJ. Keep up
Woo!
the good work. Oh man, talk about getting some fucking heat, bro. So like, and here's the thing, like, I'm curious to know if because at that time you're talking like 20 something years after the Civil Rights Act, so there's still a lot of animosity. Especially in the South. So they were in the South where like everybody's white. So like they go to this place, and I always wondered if they ever had people in the audience that were on New Jack's side. You know what I'm saying? Like if there was ever any wrestling fans that were black and would show up and then just like and be on the side of New Jack, and then it'd be like a race war. I wonder if something like that ever happened, because the way that they described it, it was just like they literally had to, like, they were just doing that for the white crowd. Well, I guess depending on where it is, but at the same time, they did say that it was in Atlanta. So it's not like at that time, or they were trying to break into the Atlanta market. So it's not like that time that didn't happen. So I'm just curious to see in Smoky Mountain Wrestling if something like that ever happened. And I really want to follow the gangsters, because the promos, man, I just want to see the fucking promos more than anything else, because that shit got me hyped. But I'm done. I'm sorry.
Like,
I
they
see
caught
I've
a
been
lot of
tangenting.
flack over.
I'm sorry, I got it.
No. Like they caught a lot of flack. Even like the NAACP was coming down on them over there. It's like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they even put
And he
it
didn't
out
give a
there
fuck
like,
about
yo,
them either.
nah, he was like, fuck them too.
He's like, fuck y'all monkeys. I was like, what? Damn, you ain't fucking with nobody. You taking it there?
That's another level of commitment to the movement,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
but
mean, no. I mean, at that time, it was the Rodney King era, the whole OJ era. So it's like, wow.
well, that was
I mean, I was a little
another
boy,
thing
so
they
I
did.
didn't
That was
say what?
another thing they did. They reenacted the Rodney King beat down on Ricky Morton.
Yes.
Right.
They certainly
Oh,
did. Now, what I liked about that was the symbolism, the execution of it. Yeah, I think they went a little too far. But like Katrina said, they always go too far. He always goes too far.
The cops did. Fuck it. They had to get the point
Yeah,
across.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, like, no, one thing Will Smith said a long time ago, that this is just that, this kind of thing has been happening for years. Now it's just being filmed.
Yeah,
You
but the
know
thing
what
is,
I'm saying?
that was his chance to let other folks know how he felt.
Facts, definitely. I mean, and
They ain't
also
like.
like, I'm sure that they, one thing that Dino Brown has said, he was just like, yo, we were making money, we were doing moves, we were doing the right thing, but it wasn't necessarily feeling good. You don't necessarily want everybody calling you a nigger every day. So
Right.
like, and I'm sure that one of the reasons why New Jack went off was because of that. And actually, we're gonna get into that a little later on with another another incident, because you can count them all.
Wait. That came into play on the mass transit thing too.
No, I'm talking about later on with the viejo. You know what I mean? With the old guy. Yeah, later on. But wait, what happened after mass transit? Because it went all over the place. Because Jerome Young is somebody that is infamous.
Before you go up for that, let's talk about how he even escaped prosecution for that, because he was facing justice.
Yeah. Okay,
No.
so
Go ahead, Christina, tell him what happened.
I feel like I was listening to when he was like explaining it, and he was talking about the lawyer, and a good lawyer knows how to play to the jury. So this is when not I used to want to be a lawyer when I was in high school. So I was going to be a prosecutor and everything. But a good defense lawyer knows how to play. You just need that one line to play off on the jury. So he was like, when he apologized for like, I'm about to say the word, like it was just so heartbreaking for him to say it. I felt once he did that, that was it. Like it was so disheartening for New Jack that even the lawyer was like, I don't even want to repeat the word right now. I'm sorry, I got to repeat it in this courtroom. But this is what happened. This is why this happened. And once that happened, I was like, oh yeah, he getting off because it was just such like, and he knew when he was like, yo, he knew he was getting off too. I was like, that he had a damn good lawyer, like just knew how to play off that one line. Just like, it was so hard for him to even say the N word himself that he had to apologize in court for saying it.
Wait though. Here's the thing about that. Like, because New Jack even said it. He said Paulie was working on people.
Oh, he definitely was. He definitely was. He definitely
Paulie knows
was.
what to do.
There's some wrestling terminology for you. They was working on folks. He told the judge, he told the jury, he said, New Jack, I'm sorry. He took his sexy decoy sunglasses off. He looked him in the eye. He said, New Jack, I'm sorry. He said the word nigger. And that saved your man New Jack about 15 years in jail.
Facts. No, he said that there was one black man and 5 white women in the jury, and the black man was like, "Oh no,"
He said the
and the
black
white
man.
women were like, "Oh." That was it. That was it. He got off.
All white women, and then there was one black dude, old black dude, and then he was asleep the whole time. And as soon as they said the word nigger, he woke up, and the whole
That's it. That was it. That was it.
that's it.
That was funny, man. That shit had me dying.
Shout out to
That whole
Paul.
Like,
situation.
imagine trying to argue that during deliberation, though. Like, the way people tell the one black guy, well, is it really bad? Like, is that really the move you want to make during jury deliberations? Like, well, maybe that was just, he had a damn good lawyer. Like, I definitely was like, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh yeah, you have a damn good lawyer who knows
I
just the
mean, you
right
know
things
what
to do.
though? I mean, I wouldn't put it past Heyman to get him that lawyer. Heyman's father was a lawyer.
Come on now, talk
You know
about
what I
it.
mean? So like, I definitely wouldn't put it past Heyman to like set that whole shit up. Because
Talk
dude,
about it.
you know what I mean? And he was a prosecutor. I think he was a lawyer, a defense attorney in the Bronx. His father, and they called him. Actually, no. Paulie dangerously took his name from his father because they called him something dangerously in as a lawyer or whatever, something like that. But yeah, see, look, there you go, Shantice. Yeah, Heyman definitely got him that lawyer. That which is awesome. With hats off to Paul Heyman. Shout out to Paul Heyman. You know I love you. The kid died from gastric bypass surgery. Yes, he did. He certainly did. And New Jack was like, "Oh well."
Yeah, because you gotta understand.
Ain't my fault.
You gotta understand though. Hold up, like and I don't mean to come up no type of way here, but like they're gonna ask him how he feel about it, and that's kind of like implying that he has something to do with it.
Well, no, the thing is that the kid died from gastric bypass. It had nothing to do with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like the
but
kid. I mean, mind you, the kid was huge already when he had the match at 17.
That's why he had to have the kind of persona or the kind of attitude he had against it, because having the persona that he has, being New Jack and all that, and knowing that the kid was most famous for the mass transit incident, and that his death followed not that far after that. People stretch. They look for whatever. So he's just defending himself at that point. Yeah, hey, listen, don't you gotta,
the only thing where I could fault New Jack is the depression that the kid went into, because after that whole situation, like he lost his passion for wrestling. And that is the only part where I could fault New Jack. But at the same time, like, depression isn't gonna kill you through gastric bypass problems. It probably made him eat a lot.
No, what happened was he got in the ring
with
with New Jack. He got in the ring with New Jack. New Jack fucked him up for real, and it changed his life. And I'd be depressed too if that shit happened to me.
Yeah, Straight up. You know what
Okay.
I mean? So like, who knows if it led him to? I mean, because for him to be that big at that young, it could be genetic, it could be comfort food, it could be who knows. But at the same time, the kid was as athletic enough to work with midgets, which is fucking awesome, and do flips and do, you know what I mean? So like, um, yeah, you know, that you definitely have to take some personal responsibility on that. So I personally do not blame New Jack. You know, he definitely could have had a lighter touch.
Somebody in the cage. Put somebody in a cage with a wild animal. And I really don't like to refer to New Jack as a wild animal, but whatever. But if you put him in that, as long when you're in that environment, he is a wild animal. So if you put
See now,
somebody,
but now here's the thing, because he also has restraint, and I
yeah,
don't know if that is just females. But I remember when we were doing Chris Benoit and we mentioned how he had even said, like Nancy, he was like, no, I like, listen, I've been dealing with a bitch and blah, 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 blah. And if I'm fucking getting mad, I'm gonna just walk away and this like that. I don't mean I'm gonna kill the bitch. You know what I'm saying? So like, he definitely has some restraint.
that's what we were saying before. Like everything that he said, all these incidents,
Mm-hmm.
something else led up to him. He never just said. We don't hear anything. We don't hear any of these stories where he just came out and attacked people out the blue and just
All
decided
right.
to poke somebody up.
So
You
now
know,
when he said his reasoning for being fucked up, his father shooting his
that was
mother
weak.
in the
That was
leg.
weak. That was weak. That was weak. That was weak. That was kind of
Yeah.
weak. That
Yeah,
was kind of
yeah.
weak.
His whole thing
There's
about
probably
his
other.
mother
There's
shooting his
probably
mother,
other
like
things.
that he saw it at 5 years old. His father died at 5, and when he was like 3, that he saw his mother get shot, and his mother got stabbed 5 times.
We don't know the whole
Um.
story though, because there's probably other things that happened to him too. Because that's only 2 incidents that he named.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
I
saying? So
would say though, and like people have shit happen all the time to them or whatever growing up in life, and everybody is not. I'm. There is the saying that you could be in the same exact environment as person, and one will go one way and one will go the other. So why
Yep.
I keep that in mind, it's also like I take that after a while, it's an excuse because as an adult, you got to do whatever you need to do to get yourself in a space where that's not the first thing is, oh, well, this happened to me when I was a kid. Because, well, shit, a lot of people had shit happen to them. Like, not to put everybody in that box, but a lot of people of color had a lot of incidents growing up. It's just that's what it was. And we not all like have that mentality or that where we have to do this because this happened. So while I do
Mm.
sympathize because I don't think anybody wants to see that growing up, I feel
Yeah.
like after a while as an adult in general, you need to like suck that up. And it's the same thing what I was saying with the Chris Benoit thing. Like, yeah, you were depressed, but after a while you need to get some help or something to deal
Facts.
whatever you need to deal with where it's not affecting everything else in your life because
Facts.
we're adults now. Like you can't blame your parents for everything. You can blame them to an extent. You can blame certain incidents to an extent, but then you have to take the okay, I gotta fix this. So whatever it is to get myself in a space where it's not like, well, I'm acting like this, so I'm doing this because this happened to me. It's like, okay, like everybody was trauma. Like a lot of people have trauma. Like it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean I'm gonna be doing that to people or whatever. So
Yeah. Doesn't mean you gotta go kill the bat. Well, get close to killing people. You know, because the one thing that somebody did say was the security guard is, which I really enjoyed, was that, you know, in wrestling, some of the best wrestling is when you blur the lines between fake and real. And New Jack just took it to a whole nother level. But yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you because I think that there's probably more to that. That's probably all he could say on TV, or probably whatever what he was cleared to say. Um, but yeah, I don't think that, you know, just that will necessarily lead you to that entire life. But at the same time, you know, who knows how much it really was. You know what I'm saying? So like,
just to Shanti's comment, I agree, but that's
yeah,
why I said eventually, as an adult, there is this whole thing with Black people, like, oh, well, this is normal, or well, this happened with my mom too, so you'll be fine, and we don't need therapy, and whatever happens, stay in our families. Like that's literally a thing, and I know that, but again, I always feel like eventually, as an adult, you just have to do what you need to do, or you just continue that cycle of like, you know we're gonna keep
mm,
doing this because this is what we're used to, and you have to be able to get out of that yeah, like that whole like, oh well, or if something happens, it's like, well, this is our business. Nobody needs to know what happens in our house. Nobody needs to know this happened to our family. This is a family issue. And it's a horrible cycle because it still happens to this day. But it's like you have to get yourselves break that cycle.
where
Like,
everybody keeps
you
things.
know, it just has to get to a point where people are okay with getting their mental health checked. So I will tell people every day, if you need a therapist, please go. Like, I will advocate that for anybody. Just if you need to, whatever you need to do, get better, do that. Just it's just less harm to you and other people in the long run. Personally, I just, in my opinion.
Now there are people that look at therapy as, you're like you're paying for an expensive friend. So I definitely see where you're coming from, because that whole notion is like a minuscule one, like probably like trying to make it small where it's not necessary. Because here, I mean, at least in the Hispanic community, a lot of times what that situation is when it comes to therapy is literally just trying to avoid the expense. Because a lot of times what the solution is, oh, talk to this person, talk to that person. They know a lot, da 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 da, da, this and that. Oh, you need help, blah blah blah. Talk to this, talk to that. Not necessarily like, oh, let's just hold it in. But it's just like, oh, no, talk to this, talk to that. Somebody that doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about half the
Blind
time.
leading the
So like,
blind.
huh?
It's like the blind leading the blind.
Precisely. And that's the situation here on this end. There are people that are actually mindful enough to actually go to therapy. But for the most part, it's like, no, 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 eso es muy caro. Eso es mucho cuarto. That's too much money. I'm not spending it to go talk to some white guy and with a pen and look at me and sit down. And you know what I mean? Like they imagine Frasier and, and like thousands of dollars just to sit down and sit there like, nah, get the fuck out of here. I ain't doing that. I'll go talk to grandma. You know what I mean? But at the same time, sometimes you definitely need somebody to unleash your stress, like unleash your baggage, even if it's just somebody to talk to, or if it's a therapist. Because the one thing, like I remember when I was doing peer mediation in school, a lot of times it was a situation of pretty much not telling people what to do or not telling people how to feel, but pretty much just reiterating or like rewording what they tell you. So that's there's a lot of that in therapy. So a lot of people feel that way. So they're just like on some like, yo, I don't want somebody to tell you to pay money. They don't really give a fuck about me. What the fuck am I gonna do that for? So I've also seen that attitude. And I've also seen the attitude of like, nah, man, I can't show any vulnerability at all. I ain't trying to be weak in front of nobody. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. Which is really, really unfortunate. Because that's something that me personally, being a first generation American born here, raised in the hood, had to also grow out of. You know what I mean? Because it's just part of the environment, in my opinion. Because yeah, you just can't show any, especially being a man, you can't show any vulnerability whatsoever. Like, you know, fuck everybody. You know what I mean? Try to be like,
A lot of
emulate somebody like New Jack.
therapy though, the thing about therapy that people don't really realize, like the only way therapy is gonna work is if you want it to work. So you gotta
Yeah,
it's kind of like
exactly.
it's kind of like rehab. Like if you gotta go into it with the intent on that you're gonna be opening up your own Pandora's box. Your own
Right,
skeletons are gonna come out, and a lot of
right.
people aren't ready to face their real selves. A lot of people aren't ready to really face the truth of their actions or their circumstance or whatever, or their trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's usually where they. That's therapy helps. Therapy helps in that regard. Helps you to if you don't recognize it, it helps you to recognize it. If you do recognize it, but you don't want to go there, it helps you kind of ease your way into it. So at that point, ultimately, either way, it becomes a choice. And
Yeah, I agree. I could agree wholeheartedly. It definitely becomes a choice, and also holding on to grief becomes a choice. Like,
yeah,
therapy or not, like just a big advocate of letting things go if you can't do anything about them. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes, and I've seen this in my family, where just like people will hold on to things they can't do anything about for decades and still continuously dwell on it to the point where it's just really hurting your life. Like you just can't do anything about it. Like, you know what I mean? And like I wonder if the mass transit had that situation. Who knows? Because I blame his death on himself. Unfortunately, like, even the fact that New Jack was like, "Oh well,"
Well,
you
that's the
can't.
thing.
I can't. You know
That's
what I mean? You can't fault
I
the
don't
guy
even
because
like. I don't even like the fact, and that's why I don't blame New Jack for having his response to that, because I don't
hmm
even like the fact that they brought his death up in a way that would, well, and it's not even that they did it. They didn't do it. It's just the circumstance and the reputation of New Jack that kind of lends itself for you to think that, okay, the mass transit shit happened, and then next thing you know, this kid is dead. So it's
Yeah,
like,
that's how they set
well,
it up. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, the one
like
thing I'm happy about is that they did say the gastric bypass thing because
Mhm.
it felt like they were trying to say New
Yeah.
Jack was the cause of his
Right,
death.
right, and that's why I don't blame him for taking that position, because it's easy for people to kind of take that narrative and kind of spin it to be like, oh, well, it was a result. No, it was a result of something unrelated. That this, and it's honestly, if you ask me, it's a you don't really want to speak on dead people or whatever, but
hmm
the fact that the kid goes into gastric bypass surgery, and the fact that he had all this, he lied about his age just to get into a pro wrestling match with New Jack or whatever. Like, all that is just lends itself to a person that just wasn't happy with himself and just desperate for a way to find happiness or a light somewhere. So,
Facts.
that's really that's really the story here. Which, if we're talking about that young man, God forgive me, I don't know his name, I forgot it, but that's really his underlining story. But as far as New
Yeah.
Jack goes, that was just a regular day at the office. He felt disrespected by some kid that came in and thought he was gonna be big enough to tell him what he was gonna do to him,
Mm.
and he took it upon himself, and yeah, it's an extreme version, but it's no different than what we've seen guys like Hardcore Holly do. Guys
hmm
like other ring veteran guys that have been around for a long time. They take these rookies and they show them what's up when they try to get smart. So
I feel you on that.
that's
I
what I
feel
see.
you on that.
Even though,
Now,
yes, but we got to put it out there, very extreme, but that's not the first of it.
mm.
I mean, that's not
So
the
now,
last. That's not the last.
there's one part of about New Jack's character that I never knew, and I was very, very happy to see that because this is actually one of my favorite movies, and that his name is derived from New Jack City. So now, once I realized that, and
Right.
then I thought of the movie,
I mean, it's gangster.
and I'm just thinking about, the cancel that bitch part. I'm thinking about when the Kareem Akbar part. I'm thinking about um when he comes with when he's jump roping with the chain, and he's coming, and Wesley Snipes is coming around and just messing everybody up. I have a feeling that, like, New Jack literally is Nino Brown. Like he literally just brought out Nino Brown into this character. I think Nino Brown is his inspiration, which I think is awesome because, Nino Brown is one of the best characters that Wesley Snipes has ever played. In my opinion, that's got to be one of the biggest heels in the hood. It's a classic movie. Um, and I think it was just awesome, and I was very excited to see that. You know what I mean? When I saw that, because I was like, oh, okay, no wonder you so gangster.
He was like an extreme version of like Nino Brown. Like,
hmm
Nino did some fucked up shit. Like,
Facts.
if y'all don't know who New Jack City, the movie, it's like a nice. What is? I want to say nice. I want to say it's like if you want to know about like street life that's told in a way that why it's like gritty and real. It's not like you can tell it wasn't written by like a white person. And I'm saying that because sometimes white people put in movies like that, and it's like it's told in a way that you're like, what the f is this? So it's like you can tell it's one of those, like, it's like those. If you want to know about like street life and like a realistic enough way, you probably should go watch New Jack City. But I feel like
Yeah.
he was like, an extreme, like a really overly extreme version of
No,
Nino.
it was.
Because he definitely was just like Nino gave no shits about
Yeah.
nothing,
Nah,
about
about
nobody, about family,
nothing.
about nothing. And I feel like that's definitely what New Jack,
Yes.
his persona, kind of embodied. Like,
Oh, G
just like,
Money.
Mustafa.
Mustafa was his G Money, and Mustafa's faces were just crazy because he just like.
Stop it. And they said that wasn't no gimmick. That wasn't no work. That was
That
really
was just him
in real life.
for real.
One of my
Ooh,
favorite lines.
get your $5 ass down before I make change.
One of my favorite lines.
Oh man, am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. That shit was
Yeah,
wild.
my man was smoking pencil savings, they said.
Word. He's like, Jack, this is new shit right here. They trying to fuck me, Jack. They trying to fuck me.
You know what, yo?
I ain't dying with that one. Oh, that Jack, you trying to fuck me, Jack. I know you want to fuck me, Jack.
Policeman, how do you feel? How do you feel about like getting behind a man, trying to put cuffs behind a man, and he's saying that to you? How you feel when it happens to you?
Oh man, that whole shit had me rolling. I swear, like I personally would love to just hang out with New Jack and hear him talk. To be honest with you, just have him tell some stories. Oh man, oh shit. Oh, he talking about Kareem Akbar. Never liked you anyway, pretty motherfucker. That shit was funny. Man, damn, I'm about to go watch that movie now.
Yeah,
no, but you know what's crazy though? Because no, the reason I really like that movie is because like I remember the time, I remember seeing cracked things in the floor, I remember all of that. But the one thing that I do miss about that time is people singing.
Well,
like, yeah, no, like people like would get together and sing. You know what I mean? Like sing in the corner, like you know what I mean?
Oh,
you know,
y'all read my shirt, my shirt. Bring back R&B. I got them on sale.
I see you.
I agree.
I see you.
R&B does not exist anymore.
I let your boy. I got them on sale, but that's the real thing. People used to get together and sing for real.
Your word, like that shit was cool. Like you know what I mean? Like we're standing in the corner, there was nothing to do. Bomb, they were just hanging out singing. You know what I mean? And like in a New Jack City. That's how me dying. My voice is whack. That's how me fry. But anyway, now see, I'll be getting off into the tangents. I'm sorry, y'all take it.
It's cool. After match, where we go after match? Oh, wait. Well, yeah, he made the debut in ECW. What was it? June 1995.
Yeah.
And that's when he really became a star. That's when he really he started to really pick up his reputation. He had openly admitted to snorting cocaine before every match. You know. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I specifically remember, like he did this promo on the Dudleys one time. This was about 10 years ago. I can find this on YouTube somewhere. And I don't know, and this couldn't have been a work. This couldn't have been a work because I believe they were employed by the WWE at the time. They had to have been. And I don't even know why you would work with this guy in this kind of level because he was clearly crazy. But Jack was pretty much going off on the Dudleys, talking about how they got to the WWF on a lottery because they had money to give away. At the time, they didn't get there on talent. He accused Devon and Bubba Ray of stealing his gimmick with the army fatigues, because he was the first one to do that. And he just accused them both of being fake. He said Bubba can't fight and all that. And then he said in that interview, because he said Bubba dry snitched on him in a shoot interview one time. He was like, "Oh yeah, because New Jack, he'd be snorting coke before." He was like, "Wait a minute, Bubba, you don't remember? You was down there with us. You was snorting that too. You remember? You was tripping out." You put him on blast.
I would not put it back past Billy Ray to do some.
He said you knew he was doing that because you was tripping. You was tripping out, wilding on the ground, kicking your legs up in the air because you thought you was about to die or whatever. And then you knew I was into doing all that stuff because how you think that I got up a 30-foot shit jumping off? And that's out of his words. You know, you can find that on YouTube.
Okay. All right, let's see. We're about to try. Damn. Okay.
New Jack Dudley's, you know, but that's the thing that that's just an example. Like this guy. They got to the point with ECW. He wasn't the last one to get to that extreme. Like that hardcore style became a way of life.
Facts. You know? In the ECW days, that was what was expected because WWE wasn't doing it. WCW wasn't going to do it, and like everything that was a lot of people were doing stuff in their backyard and stuff like that, and then Paul Lee was just, you know what, fuck it, guys, come on, let's do this.
Yeah, well, Jim Cornette said that about the ECW. It was like Paul was kind of letting him run wild. It was like, do
Yeah,
you keep entertaining? And because there was an audience, like there was before ECW, there was the audience for that backyard style, like wrestling, where he really wasn't caring about people's safety. It was just like, oh, this looks cool, or like, oh, it's a lot of blood, or this looks super like extreme and stuff. So
I mean,
Paul
even to this
Heyman kind
day,
of let them run wild a bit, and I think that was like perfect for a New Jack because I was like, oh no, I can really do my shit on like a
but
bigger
like
set of an audience.
even to this day, like I think because that whole thing, I think ECW started a revolution because, like, for example, the ICW show that we had went to earlier this year, it was barbed wire ring, no ropes, no rules, like you know, they had all kinds of weapons, all kinds of wild shit. And then the other one, CZW, like CZW is just insane, bro. Like crazy insane. It's like ECW to the 10th power, honestly. CZW is no joke. And mind you, like there are some of our current people that were in CZW and did some of these extreme things. So like I really feel like they just opened the door, and New Jack, I think that in time New Jack is gonna go down in history like a Terry Funk. Like as a classic, having a guy having classic matches with classic moments, and just be infamous for life. But whatever he actually, well, you know what? I'll say that later because I talk too much.
All right, you want to go into the next alleged, well, not alleged, but you want to go in the next infamous incident?
Oh yeah. I did the first one. Yeah, I did the second. I was coming on that old man.
You want this
I feel
one?
bad. Like I'm like, come on, Jack. Come on, Jack. Like, what the fuck, Jack?
Oh no, because you have. I get my notes. Actually, I should get my notes out. I'm slacking, guys. Sorry, but no, you can start it, Stan. I'll tell you my thoughts on it.
All right. Next we got Mr. Vic Grimes.
Oh, Vic Grimes. Oh, okay.
Do we know about
Cool.
this story? Do we know about this story? We're gonna talk about Vic Grimes here.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So apparently,
Never did.
these two were in a match.
Yes, she is.
Well, and before the match got underway, they had a conversation backstage where they had agreed on doing a spot off of a balcony or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And now, mind you, I didn't, just a disclaimer here. I watched the YouTube version of this episode, so it cut part of this episode out. I had to go dig up for the full story of it. So what I'm about to say isn't from Dark Side of the Ring; it's from actual footage of New Jack himself, not long after this.
Mm.
So apparently, they get up to the top of the balcony to do the spot, and according to New Jack, Vic Grimes says, "I don't want to do this no more. I'm scared." He starts to back out, and and
Don't do
and
that.
and New Jack says, "What you mean? We here?" You know. So he goes to throw the guy off the balcony. Dude holds on. New Jack with his momentum because they don't have a lot of room, and he loses balance. He fall. He try to pull the dude down with him, and when he fall and New Jack falls down, they both fall down from the balcony, and the dude lands on New Jack, and New Jack's head hits the concrete and
Yep.
cracks his skull.
Yep.
Did I get it right? Did I get the Dark Side of the
Yes,
Ring?
you did. Well,
Yeah.
no, actually, the guy landed on top of him.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what he landed on his head.
mm-hmm.
The guy
Yeah.
landed on his head.
Yeah. So, you know, actually, one thing that I was gonna say about this, and one thing that he had said later on after this, is that he cracked his skull. Until this day, he
Mm-hmm.
wakes up with headaches. So, like, in my opinion,
There's no vision in his right eye either.
and there's no vision in his right eye. So, in my opinion, he don't gotta do no jail time. He's doing his time right now.
Fact.
You know what I mean?
Fact.
The pain and the suffering that he's going through right now, Yeah, and like Jim Cornette even said like he can't really capitalize on this now. He's. I guarantee if he was to put out a shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees, he'll make some bank. But I don't think he's the type of guy that's gonna do meet and greets.
that would require somebody to have to invest money in him, invest in him, and he's not really somebody that promoters or sponsors would want to sponsor.
Well, but wait, let me ask you though, because I don't know if y'all peeped this.
I would though if I had the bag. I'd sponsor New Jack. Go ahead,
No,
boy.
but I don't know if y'all peeped this, but I heard a lot of Chris Jericho in there.
Yeah, he's narrating the whole series, the whole season.
So like, I would not be surprised if just like Jake the Snake Roberts made a surprise entrance after all of the infamy that comes with Jake the Snake Roberts. I would not be surprised to see New Jack in AEW. Not wrestling or something, but doing something crazy.
Nope.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Nope. Not gonna happen.
Why would you say that?
Not gonna happen.
I mean, listen, man. The influence of the Ayatollah of rock and roll is Chris Jericho was fun.
They're not that all inclusive. Let's be clear. Let's take it easy. We got boundaries here, man. We got boundaries. That man is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I agree. He definitely is. He definitely is.
And that's the thing. Don't get it twisted. Just because Chris Jericho is narrating the series doesn't mean he has any personal good feelings towards New Jack. That's nothing to do with it. He's just doing his job. He's getting paid to do that. That's his job.
Well, that's true. I mean, but I'm curious to see. I mean, I guess we would have to wait to listen to the Jericho podcast or something like that to see what his personal feelings are on New Jack.
I'm sure Jericho would speak highly of New Jack, but I don't think it's at this point. It's if we're talking about business, it's not a matter about how I personally feel about you.
I mean, because at the end of the day, like the guy's pushing 60, right? So he's obviously not going to do what he used to do, but I think that he can definitely be a draw in some way. In AEW, I think he can definitely be a draw.
But also because he still has that like he don't give a shit type attitude though. I feel like that is like people already complain about certain like for MJF for instance, how people say sometimes he's a way too in character. How that's still a big deal for people. Like he don't know when to turn the character off. New Jack is legit.
I don't get that. What do you mean turn the character off? What come on.
Doing this to little kids.
I would say that because as a
Roddy Piper, do you think Roddy Piper gave kisses on the cheek to these little kids?
I mean, granted that because somebody said this to my kid, I don't care wrestling, I'm flipping. Like that's just how I am in general. I'm that crazy mom, like don't say shit to my kid.
But that means they
somebody else's kid. But because people are like that with just somebody like MJF, who's just more like a douche, he's not really like violent. He's just like a douchebag. Like New Jack is a whole different beast. He's a whole different beast. I feel like he's definitely not turning anything off. He's just hey Steven. I feel like he's too much. It's too much for AEW. Like he's just too much. He's too much. There's no way they're gonna tone him down because he's not gonna be toned down. Like that's just how he is. Like he literally was himself that whole documentary. It was just like I was laughing more so because like he really just give no shits. And that's like what? Like it's not that it's funny. It's just like you really do not give no shits. Like when you people say like I give no shits, he embodies that. Like as a person, he just embodies the whole thing.
Oh, most definitely.
So I feel like for AEW, nah.
Okay, so I mean,
all right, so now, to catch WWE, that's not smart right now.
All right, so now since y'all think he goes too far, what do y'all think about Gypsy Joe?
Okay, that's another thing. Okay. So I remember this when it happened. So, he wouldn't sell.
That was his gimmick.
He didn't tell them.
Yes, he did.
He didn't communicate that way.
They did. They did because his whole gimmick was because he was so old, and he's always been like, this really strong man.
It wasn't agreed upon.
Say what?
It wasn't agreed upon.
No, it was because if you look at the beginning of the match,
Mhm.
if you look at the beginning of the match, New Jack isn't like really doing hard hits. You know what I mean? But the thing is, like New Jack also said, they kept calling me a nigga. They kept calling me a nigga, and that kept pissing me off. And he just forgot. He
But I'm
forgot this
talking
thing.
about, like, look. I remember this shit when it happened. I didn't even. I watched him talk about this before, and I watched other things on this. He was
Mm.
pissed off because he was trying to get this man was legitimately trying to. First of all, he tried to son him in the back. He was trying to, yo, I'll teach you the ropes here, kid. Try to like little boy him. That
The
one.
guy was 70. What do you
Well,
expect? 70-year-old's gonna son everybody on
what do I
everything.
expect? What do I expect? I expect if you're 70 years old that you're not going to be in a professional wrestling ring, and if you are, then you're going to have
I
some
agree.
wherewithal about you that you're going to
Yeah.
think that, wait a minute, I might not be the one in here calling the shots after all. Maybe, just
No,
maybe,
I definitely agree. I
right?
definitely agree
So,
on that. He should not be. He shouldn't have been in the ring. That match should have never happened. I
but that's not even.
completely agree.
But that's not even my point. I'm not even saying that he shouldn't have been in the ring. I'm just saying if you're 70 years old, don't think it's a beyond the realm of comprehension that people are just gonna work with you in your little bullshit ass I don't sell for you gimmick. And you're not gonna bury me like that, motherfucker. You're not gonna do that. No, cause I'm New Jack.
Mhm. Mhm.
Don't think that this is gonna go down like that. So I'm New Jack, right? And I'm hitting you, and you don't sell. What does that make me? Right?
So, yeah,
Right? So I'm
yeah.
gonna. So am I gonna? What's I'm gonna do? I'm gonna keep hitting you soft? No.
No, but the thing is that he knew about the gimmick, but he just like he said, he was just like, "Yo, I was fucked up," and these motherfuckers was calling me a
That
nigga,
didn't help.
and
That
I
didn't
started
help.
fucking him up.
That
I
didn't help.
I almost killed that old man.
That didn't help. That didn't help. That did not. Listen. I'm just trying. Listen. I'm just trying to tell y'all. If you would have just sold, if you would have just, you give him a little something. You would have got my.
Facts. No, I agree. I definitely agree. I
Don't
definitely
bury him.
agree.
You're burying me at that point. Don't bury me. Come on.
Yeah, but I mean, at least play a little bit with the gimmick. I mean, I understand it was definitely Triple H, Ultimate Warrior, WrestleMania 12. I get that. But like, yo, I mean, he had to. So I wish he would have shown some restraint because at the same time, dude was in his 70s. I mean, come on now. He definitely he was right. He should not have been in the ring.
Yeah.
Definitely should not have been in the ring. But at the same time, like, yo, you know, you know what I mean? Carry the match at least. You know what I mean? Like, don't just freaking kill the old man. On that one, I definitely got to fault New Jack for that because at least. But the good thing is that the guy didn't leak. He didn't come with an X-Acto knife or nothing like that. But nobody knows if the guy survived it though. Like nobody said anything after that. So like, I'm
Well,
curious.
no, he was good. He was good. He still wrestled. He still did his thing. He was fine. It was just an egregious act. But wait a minute. I just realized we didn't finish the Vic Grimes story because we didn't tell you what the retaliation was.
Oh, word. That's
We
true. That's true.
didn't
That's
say
true. That's
there
true.
was retaliation for cracking this guy's skull open and
Mm,
losing vision in his eye.
that shit
So
was insane. That
about a year
shit,
later, about
yo.
a year something later, he gonna take this man up to the top. Well, first of all, before he took him up to the top of the balcony, he took his ass to the store and got himself a stun gun.
Mm-hmm.
And then he took him up to the balcony, and then he tased the man, and then he told him goodbye, and then tried to kill him. He threw him off of a 40-foot balcony,
Yep.
and he landed in a way that would kind of make you wonder how he's not at least paralyzed.
Facts.
And he,
Facts.
came out with nothing but, by the grace of God, a sprained ankle or some shit.
Yep. A dislocated ankle. That's it.
Yeah.
But that whole story was hilarious because he buys the stun gun and then he's like, Jack, I can't feel my legs, Jack. I can't feel my legs. Oh well, you ain't gonna need them.
Yeah, that's what got me. I was like, how you gonna tell somebody they don't need their legs? Like you was just like it was a regular thing. Like you saying you don't need the soda today. It was like no, you don't need your legs. You good? Like you good, bro? You good? Like I was like, yo, he really just like damn. Dude. I was like, damn. It was just like so like he really just like it was like a regular thing to say you don't need your legs, and
Right.
you could tell that they had like the angle of the camera when you see him being tased. And I'm like, yo, like y'all didn't even have to get the angle like that for us to see because it made it. I should have laughed at it, but it's like to have that camera angle and then have him say like, well, you didn't need your legs. I was like, yo, that was just so violation, right? Like you didn't like it was said like it was like you didn't need that piece of candy. Like, no, bro, these my legs. It's a whole different
For
thing.
real, man.
Like, he was just so nonchalant, like, oh, you good. Like it's just like you got a little headache or something. Like, bro, it's his legs. So I just felt like whoever did the editing for the documentary, like y'all did not have to put the camera angle when you see him being tased and then have New Jack right after. Like, oh, you don't need those legs. You don't need them. Like it was like y'all was just like that wasn't even right, y'all. It was like good angle and everything.
But my man Jim Cornette even said like if Eddie Murphy was a wrestler and wasn't a comedian, it would be New Jack.
Fact. For real. Look, I'm trying to see if I can find the thing so I can put it on.
Great, yo. So the word to the wise, yo, always respect this man, or else. Oh, let's talk about next out of this. I guess we keep going about this retaliations. Let's talk about Hunter Red.
Oh, word. Hold up. Let me see if I can get the thing to show y'all.
This is probably the most well, now the mass transit I'd say is definitely, probably the most egregious and infamous incident involving New Jack that we know of publicly. But this would I think this would come in as number 2 for me. When he stabbed up Hunter Red in the ring.
Yeah.
Oh, word. Now, how many? What was it? 9?
Well, the media said it was
stabbings.
The media said it was 16, but New Jack swear it was 9.
It was 9. He's like, I counted. It was 9.
This is one of those situations where he just like it's too much, and I do know that he was like a lot of times it was drugs and stuff, but
oh, whoops! I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
That's Big John getting his ass tossed to hell.
Oh shit!
Look at that.
Oh man. Hey, oh man, damn, man.
God, he is broken in half.
Yo, this shit is no joke right here, man. Oh, there's Cornette.
Look at the goat, Jim Cornette.
Yeah. Oh, this is the no selling right here.
Look, no, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, what you doing?
You look at her playing him up. He's messing him up. Oh man, that shit was no. Oh, because he took.
See, we didn't even have to hear his voice right now. You could just hear him tell me he was tight. That this happened. That he was tight. Like he wasn't.
See, you can see that. You can see that. Woo! He beat the shit out of that man.
Too far, but it was cool to look at though, right?
Yeah, that. Oof.
Look at this. He took the chair rack. I'll hit all of y'all with this shit.
I missed that. I remember that. Hold on. Who else did that? Was it Public Enemy that did that? That whole shit with the trash can and everything, throwing everything in the ring?
Yo, Sandman was gangster in this. Yo, he's my second favorite.
I love Sandman, bro. He really was.
Yo, Sandman would kept it gangster in this episode.
He's like, you don't fuck with that dude. He's just a big motherfucker from Harlem, dude. You don't fuck with that dude. That's the shit that be rolling. You don't fuck with this kind of guy, dude. He was just like us. He fit right in with us, dude.
Jim Cornette didn't have to point out that there was 30 people there.
Oh, word, right? For real? He really did it though. That shit was mad empty.
Would it be Jim Cornette though if he did point it out? That feels like a Jim Cornette thing. Let y'all know there's not many people in here, but
Real, man.
Shout out to the GOAT.
I like Jim Cornette until he starts talking about New York. Then I want to stab him.
Nah, I love Jim Cornette.
Talking about the Rotten City and all of that, man.
I am definitely the same way about New York. Like we can talk shit about New York because we live here, but nobody else can talk shit about New York. Like y'all can kiss my ass, okay? Don't say no shit about New York.
I make an exception for Mr. Cornette. Like I'm from New York and I believe in God, and I still give him a pass.
You funny, man.
Uh,
Oh man.
Look,
Hold up.
look,
What
all
was
right,
we
so this is
at?
what we're talking about here. This right here, right here. He's stabbing this man. He done stabbed him about nine times right here.
Mm-hmm.
According to him, according to media, he stabbed him 16 times. And Jim Cornette's talking about, yeah, this is probably not a good idea for people to see about pro wrestling. You got to split
Yeah.
out the man's neck right here and a display of dominance. Because wait, pause this. Can you pause it just for a minute? So let's give some people some context here. Because like right now they're just seeing a man kill another man in the ring. Um. Oh, and try to kill another one.
Damn.
So basically, how the story goes, like this man had it in his mind again, much like the mass transit guy, that he was gonna go up and tell New Jack what he wanted to do in the match.
Mm-hmm.
He goes up and he interrupts New Jack when he's talking to somebody, and he demands to speak to, he wanted to go over the match with New Jack in front of people, and New Jack said, "No, let's go over here and speak." And then the dude caught an attitude, and then they go over and they speak about the match. And according to New Jack, dude just was not having, he wasn't feeling New Jack's idea about it because I guess New Jack wasn't gonna let him get any of his shit in. So he just got upset, threw a hissy fit and stormed off. Right? Boom. So now we're in the match. And the guy starts off, and you can see it. The guy starts off, he they lock up, and the guy starts punching New Jack. And these are shoot punches. He is not pulling these punches, he's really punching this man in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're gonna expect after you punch New Jack in the face about 2 or 3 times, but
Facts.
you can literally see the and D'Lo Brown even pointed this out too. You can see the change in his mentality and his whole body language when he went straight into killer
Look at
mode. He went straight into killer mode, and he went and he took his knife out. He wrapped him around his head so he couldn't get away. He took his knife out and he started poking him.
mm.
Spoken about
Yeah,
9 times.
yeah.
He said the media says 16, but New Jack maintains 9. So I'm
Mm.
I'm gonna
Oh,
believe
look
9.
at that. You see that?
I'm gonna believe 9 because 9 sounds more precise.
Damn. Yo,
Yeah,
New Jack is no joke, man.
nah, not at all, not at all. Look at him.
Look at him. Look at him.
Look,
Look at him. Damn.
look at it. And in the cutscenes, he's trying to like justify it, like I had to kill him.
I have no choice. Oh man, and this guy right here is like, I don't know, man.
I like that guy. That guy was
Dying.
that guy was such an OG. I love that dude. That was Uncle Somebody. I don't know.
So now, let me ask you guys something, because now that after that whole situation, now that since he got to go to ECW and literally they put him in an element where he could literally thrive. Do you think that was necessarily good for his career or bad for it?
Good, because he wouldn't have gotten known either other way.
Mm.
I think it was good as far as his career. I don't know if it was necessarily good for his mental health, but it definitely was good for his career because that's how I found out who he was from
Mm-hmm.
ECW. Like I wouldn't have known who he was. I didn't watch what he was in before. I knew him from ECW, so I feel like you put him on the map for other people, especially that style of wrestling. You put him on the map, and he's a black guy too. So that I say that only because let's be real, professional wrestling and black people, it's not like you get that many that can be at the top of something. So not
Mm-hmm.
even if he was a champion or not, he still was one of the top extreme type wrestlers, and ECW gave him the platform for that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if because the kind of person he is was that's necessarily good for him as a person, like being where it's like you kind of got away with doing things because it's like extreme, you can do this and do that. I don't know if it was good for him in that respect, but it definitely was good for his career.
I see what you mean. Now because one thing that I do wonder after watching all of this, because I do notice that a lot of these incidents are.
Sorry, Vic. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
What happened?
Because I just wanted to tie up the.
You want me to put it back on?
I just wanted to tie. No. But I wanted to tie up the stabbing incident because it has something to do with what she said about him being enabled.
Oh, go ahead.
Um,
Yeah.
because she's right. Katrina's right. Like he was put in that environment where he was allowed to be animalistic,
Mm-hmm.
get away with it. Because even as a result of the stabbing incident, the dude Hunter Red approaches New Jack's face him more time. He goes to him in prison, and he tries to make a deal with him. He agrees to drop the charges
Facts.
if New Jack agrees to work with him.
Mm-hmm.
So now New Jack agrees to work with him, gets out of jail, the charges are dropped, and he flee out of Florida. He's
Yep.
out there. So now he never got to really face any consequences.
Nope.
So that's an enabler right now to keep you saying I'm above this shit. I'm still this guy.
Mm.
I'm this old. I've been doing it this long, and I'm still out here. Why should I stop?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. I see what you mean. Okay. Now, I mean, like one thing that I do wonder, because the thing is that when he was in Smoky Mountain, it was all about his promos, and when he was in ECW, it was all about his extreme. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
I'm only laughing
word!
because Joe, when he did that, my
Oh
first thought
shit!
was,
Hold
I
up,
can't
hold
even
up.
think something like that negative of my mom. Like
Wait.
even
That
to
shit
think
is
of that,
wild.
to
He's
even
like,
think
I'll
like
get along with my mama,
Wait,
bitch.
let me ask y'all this. Is this? Thank you, Shanti, for bringing this up because this did not fly
Facts.
over my head. So this story opened up basically with a story about how traumatized he was about the abuse his mother suffered at the hands of his father. And it's
Mm-hmm.
ending with him telling us that he hates his mother. What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
I would say
Yeah.
that, especially with, at least this is what I learned. Like sometimes with boys, especially if you watch your mom get hurt, there's like two ways. Either you're gonna be to the point where you repeat the abuse to somebody else, or you'll get to the point where you'll be angry that your mom allowed it. So I feel
Mm.
like that's what it was. Like he was like traumatized, but that happened to his mom. But he was also like, "But you allowed this. You allowed me to be in this situation, so I'm angry." So I felt like that's what it was. But while he was cursing his mother out, I was literally like in my head, I was like, "My mom's not abusive, but like I can't even think to call my mom like." Even feel like even thinking it in my head and she didn't know I was thinking it, I would probably die. Like I feel like I'm like, oh, ooh, I just felt like the black mama look. I was like, no, what are you doing?
Mm.
I was just like, what are you doing right now? Why are you calling your mama a B? Like, why are we doing this? Like that hurt. As a
And he's
person with a
like,
black mom, I just kept like, nah, I can never.
he's just like,
You
no, that shit had me dying because he's like, bitch, how many of your friends got action figures?
I was
How
like,
many of your
okay.
friends' sons got action figures, bitch? And I was just like, what the?
I had a New Jack though. It's so crazy now that I remember that triggered me. I actually had it. That's how I even knew that such a thing as New Jack was. I had a
Mm.
New Jack doll when I was a
Oh
little kid,
man, yo,
but
you
I
know how much
never
bread
knew.
that's worth right now?
Oh God, if I could find it, bro. Like
Yo,
if
ECW dolls are bread right now, bro.
son, like if I remember I had that doll, but I never knew who this guy was. I never saw him on television because I was a WCW WWF fan. I
Mm.
never saw this dude. I never heard of him, but I just had this guy, and his name was New Jack.
Mm.
And so then later on, I find these interviews with him later on. Like I told y'all, I find these shoot interviews, his opinions on Chris Benoit. Apparently, you guys touched on this. He had strong feelings about that Chris Benoit thing
Because he
because
knew Nancy personally.
yeah, he was friends with
So
Nancy.
he said that Nancy was his friend and he knew her
Right,
personally. But then he went
right.
ahead and said, and this is why I had said earlier that he definitely has restraint and some sensibility to him. And I don't know if it's just women, but he definitely has
He
some
has a
restraint
heart. He has a
because
heart. He's a
yeah,
human.
because he said he even said he was like, listen, man, like I don't give a fuck what nobody says. I done been with a bitch before and got tired with her and I left the motherfucker. You don't go killing a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just like, and I agree with you 100%. Like Chris Benoit had no reason to do what he did,
What do you say? He
but
go, what you gotta do? If you gotta smack upside the head, go ahead. But if that
yeah.
don't work, then get the fuck out. It's like, come on,
I
man.
mean, shit, they ain't gonna smack her across her head now. Then that ain't no
Nah,
me too.
like that shows you, that shows you, but that's why I rock with dude because like I see interviews like that, I see the honor in him, I see his heart. You know
I
what I'm
see
saying?
it.
He has a good. Does he react to everything well? No, and that's that's pretty much what I gotta say about New Jack. But he's a human being, just like
Word.
everybody else. Yes,
Steven.
you only stabbed him 9
Steven,
times.
that's why he
It's
only
not the
stabbed the
same.
dude 9
Nah,
times.
Nah, Steve, they tried to say he stabbed him 16 times. It was only 9. It could have been
For
16.
real.
The fact that you explained it to make it sound better, though.
Yo,
Yeah.
wait, hold up. And he got like a
Like, no,
Wolverine
this
shit in
is
his hand
bad.
right now.
2 digits is worse than 1. 2 digits is worse than 1. Like, think about it. If it's true, would you rather get hit 16 or 9? I'd take the 9.
Facts.
I'll take a 0, but
Facts.
I mean, I would get stabbed. Like, shit, I probably would. I'll get tased. I probably would have get tased before I get stabbed. I don't know.
Wait. Well, it's not like as many of these were left up to decision, you know.
Facts.
What
Then,
are we looking at now? What's
this right here looks recent. I just look up something on New Jack Tampa incident. No, so this is another incident that happened in Tampa that I certainly haven't heard about, but it looks like people are getting hurt.
gun? Is that Abdullah?
Yeah, it looks like Abdullah.
No, it can't be Abdullah. He's not in that.
That's
He can't walk anymore.
the word up, right? Like the Abdullah the Butcher Howell.
No,
You
he
know
was in the last season of Dark Side of the Ring. He was on the Bruiser Brody episode. That man can't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That we should do that too.
We should do that too. Shout out to Chris.
Season
Yeah,
1? Oh, yeah. Season 1 was great.
I wonder if New Jack actually fought Abdullah the Butcher, but who is that guy? Who's that big guy? That he's
He was
he's
trained
with
by,
New Jack. He's with New Jack on this one, look.
there
But
he
New
is.
Jack this looks more recent. Like New Jack look older here. I don't know what this is, but I was just
Is
looking
that
at
a
what
rich?
He's revered for his, work rate, quote unquote. And that's the thing. What do we consider work rate? Because he's clearly a good worker. Because like obviously, he's not killing anybody in the ring, and he's doing all this crazy shit. You know.
Nice. And he got the Wolverine in his hand right now. Like I don't know what that's about, but that's wild.
That's what he stabbed. That's what he stabbed up Hunter Red with. He said he had a Wolverine. He said he had a Wolverine claw, and one of the things broke off, and he put it in his pocket.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Well, you know what?
They said we're gonna pick a date on that Bruiser Brody episode, so y'all stay tuned for that.
All right. Y'all know the deal. Pick the date. All right. Cool. All right.
Well, what do y'all want to say? What do y'all want to say about New Jack? Do we leave anything out?
I don't think we did. I think
No, I don't think we did.
I think that we pretty much covered everything. But like I was going to say before, I already did say it. But in my opinion, the guy is definitely paying for what he has done.
I'm just saying, Steven. I'm sorry. My bad.
I like that because I was surprised that he brought a wrench to the ring but not a knife. What? He brought a wrench to the ring?
I thought he had a wrench. I was like, is that a wrench? I guess because I made that expression. He was like, that surprises you, but not the knife. Yes, Shanties. I'm definitely going to do the Eric's too.
Wait. If we call him dibs, Shanties, I got Bruiser Brody. Whoever want to do that one with me. But we'll talk about that in the group later.
Yeah. We'll do that. So now, I mean, and in my opinion, New Jack is going to be one of the most infamous wrestlers in wrestling history.
Yeah, I feel like that's the way to put it.
Anybody that was able to see New Jack in person would definitely look at that, I guess, in a personal light. I did. I was very happy to see him, but I was 16 and I was just happy to see the blood and all the grind and all the craziness. I definitely didn't look at it the same way, huh?
We changing it up around here. It's a new day. Yes, it is. You already know.
Yo, facts for real. I mean, we experimented. We getting better. Every day. Technology's getting better. Corona keeping us in the house, but we figuring it out, ladies and gentlemen, just for you, so that we can get it popping and keep this moving. I'll blade if you put me in another show. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. We got you, Steven. We got you, Steven. You gonna bleed for us?
Shout out to Steve.
How you gonna do it? You gonna wrap it around, or you gonna get an X-Acto knife? How you gonna do it, Steven?
You gotta get a hardware. You're gonna get a gimmick. What's up?
He said, "Oh, just kidding. I ain't that crazy." Okay.
We all family.
Okay. Thank you, Stan Michael, calling dibs on the show. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. All righty. So wait now. I don't think I finished my thought.
What's his lasting impression on the industry? What's his legacy? What are we gonna remember about New Jack? It seems like this is the end of his not that this is the end, but like it seems like his days of infamy are behind him now. So what are we gonna remember him for? What are we here to do? You
Well,
know?
I mean, me personally, I'm always going to remember him as one of the most infamous wrestlers in history.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that I got to see him personally, but because of the shit that he did and the times that he did take it too far, he's paying his price. He's waking up with headaches every day. He got a cracked skull. He's just fucked up in the game. So, but then at the same time, I guarantee you that if he does a meet and greet or something like that, he'll definitely make money. Independent shows, if they can control him, are definitely going to get a draw from him. I definitely see this being a big draw for New Jack. I see something happening with New Jack. I personally think he's going to go to AEW, but I mean, at the same time, I kind of agree with what Katrina and Stan was saying earlier, that it might be too much. So that's where I'm at with mine. So before I continue and make this another hour, let me shut up.
I mean, I like I said, I thought he was always a little crazy, and I mean, like as a kid, so you watch him, you're just like, oh, okay, this is a bit much. Like, so watching that just confirmed that no, he was crazy. It's cool, like, but he owned his crazy, and I say it like he really was just like, well, this is what it was, this is what I did. And while I don't necessarily like some of the things he did, I do respect the person who can own up to it, because he definitely was owning up to everything. He was just like, this is what I did, this is what it is. I was high, I was fucking him up. I tell you, like, it was just really and for that, I feel like he'll probably be just very infamous. Sometimes that could be a bad thing, it could be a good thing, but I feel like if people like the fact that we have the YouTube to look things up, it's not like he'll be completely forgotten. I feel like if you know ECW, you have to, I would hope, if you watch ECW, you have to know who New Jack is. I feel like that I would be very surprised if you like, oh, I'm an ECW fan and know who he is. You have to know who he is if you're an ECW fan. But I feel like even if you're like somebody who never watched it, just by watching the documentary, look up his stuff on YouTube. I feel like it's not like he's gonna disappear. I feel like he's not going anywhere. I feel like it's not going to be like we're just never going to care. Like nobody, like in 10 years, I feel like he'll still be known for that fact that he was probably one of the most, especially when you got people doing the dumb things they do, the videos now, where it's like that kid who like jumps into like barbed wire and shit. Like you got people who, you got people who like stuff like
my gigolos. Woo, woo,
and he does that, and people like that. Like people are like, oh my god, it's the best thing. So if you got people doing stuff like that, New Jack is like he's not going nowhere. I feel like that for that.
Oh my god. Yo, that kid is so funny. I'm sorry, but that kid is fucking fuck this shit. Woo woo.
He's gonna kill himself one day. He's gonna get hurt one day for real.
Yeah, and there's also people definitely be like, "Oh my god, he's like so cool," and I'm like, "No, he's dumb."
No, but the thing that gets me is that I do not understand the appeal to the insane clown posse.
Wait, hold on.
I really do not understand how this shit got so fucking big.
Vic, I gotta address this. I'm sorry, I gotta address this because this is just craziness. Chris, if you got a team, I want to see them. I don't want to hear you talk about it. I want to see this team. All right. You've been talking about this team. Bring them up. You talking about it. I want to see it. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait a minute. Speaking about Chris, like earlier, you made a comment about how nobody cares about New York. Nobody cares about a Confederate state like Florida that ain't nothing good for nothing.
Nobody cares about Florida. Florida is y'all Floridans. Like every time something stupid happens, we be like, guess what? They probably from Florida. Okay.
Exactly. People go to Florida to die, bro.
Nobody wants to make it in Florida. Everybody wants to come to New York. Learn that.
Precisely.
Appreciate that.
Precisely.
Like,
so I can take that to Florida, stay there with the Everglades and the alligators and all of that.
Bro. Like what? Like
and keep your Confederacy down.
Whoa. I'm not saying nothing. All right.
He's actually from Philly, which is funny. Eagles away.
And I'm going to say that to Philly people, you're not better than New York. I said what I said. Not better than New York. Philly, Florida, Ohio, Cali, wherever. Like, you're not better than New York.
Facts.
Accept it.
I sure did. I sure did. I cut a promo. I knew, sir, because you put it out there. You got a tag team. You talk about a tag team. You talk about a team. I don't see this team. I hear words. I hear words. None of it. I don't even hear the words. I read the words. I see words. I want to see the people. I want to see the action. You have a team. We showed you what we do. You bring what you got. Period. Need a captain at home. Need a captain in Florida. It's New York. All right. Go ahead.
All right, so oh wait, we should do some plugs. We should promo some stuff.
More
We
on
should
this later. Hashtag. Matter of fact, that's
we should
go
definitely
ahead.
do some plugs. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So tomorrow, if you did watch SmackDown tonight, and I hope you did, in my opinion, it was an okay show. But tomorrow, we actually know one person here. Actually, no, none of the people here. Mr. Willatine Dream, Hearts, and the executive consultant are going to be reviewing SmackDown. However, as soon as that is finished, right at the same show, we are going to be having our Wrestlemania predictions because, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is the first day of WrestleMania 36. And I'm excited simply because I'm a wrestling fan. I'm obviously not excited because we're dealing with a coronavirus, but tomorrow will definitely be exciting because this is going to be the very first WrestleMania that is not predictable. And yes, it looks like all of us will be on SmackDown review tomorrow morning at noon. So that should be good. And then after that, after WrestleMania, we will probably most likely have a review show after that. I don't see any graphics here for that. So, we're gonna skip that, but what I'm gonna do and say is that next Monday, ladies and gentlemen, after WrestleMania, they already taped the Raw show, so we're definitely going to be having a show for Monday Night Raw with one person that's here, Miss Katrina Storm, the technician, David Sanderson, and the executive consultant, Chris Florida's Whack Harris. Let's see what else we got. Okay. Oh, yes. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a good one. The Sexy Decoy, not Mr. One Night Stand, and Miss Hart are going to be covering the Montreal screw job. Talking about the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Bret the Hitman Hart, ladies and gentlemen. Oh shit! You know it's crazy how I have merch everywhere. I literally have.
I gotta tell you all about this. I gotta tell you all about this right now because I just want to put it out there. This is gonna be at least a 2-part series.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
We
realized that going into it that there's too much to talk about, and we already go over almost 2 hours talking about nothing already, and this time we actually have something to talk about. We have a lot to get into, so this is going to be at least a 2-part series. It starts on Tuesday. Don't be late. We're getting all the way into the nooks and crannies of what happened between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, why and how it happened, and and how we still to this day feel its effects on professional wrestling. So this is gonna be something for y'all real hardcore wrestling fans. Y'all really dig this wrestling. If you here right now, you dig this wrestling stuff. This is something you're gonna want to tap into. So don't be late. Be there, and I'm gonna hand it back over.
Be there or be square. So now, real quick, let me just put this on.
Hello again, everybody. I am the executive consultant of Yep, I Like Wrestling and one of the hosts of Unpopular Reviews, reminding you that if you're liking this video, please make sure that you like and share this video to all of your wrestling timelines and groups. And if you have Instagram and Twitter, you are following us at UPR YepILW. Once again, Twitter, Instagram, UPR YepILW. And if you have YouTube, make sure that you're subscribing to us at Yep, I Like Wrestling. And now, back to Unpopular Reviews.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So tomorrow, we should definitely be having an amazing time watching WrestleMania. I'm excited for it. Everybody's excited for it. I'm a longtime wrestling fan, so obviously I'm excited for it. What about you guys? How do you guys feel about WrestleMania?
I'm worried.
Am I too hype? Am I too hype? I'm too hype.
No. You got the right attitude. You got the right attitude. I'm personally worried. I'm concerned, but I'm gonna go in there with a positive attitude. I'm gonna try to. I was there last year in person. I was there tailgating.
Yes.
I bring that up all the time, but I will continue to because it was a day I'll never forget.
Me
But
neither.
this
It
is
was awesome.
it was. But this year is quite the contrary. So yeah. Oh, the Super Katrina's up. Okay, wait.
How did we get two Katrinas all of a sudden?
But
Oh,
I'm just concerned about the lack of crowd participation and how that's going to affect the overall show. I'm concerned about them breaking it up into 2 days. There's just a lot of X factors I'm concerned about, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it all.
Okay. Well, I mean, and personally, in light of the situation that we are in, I'm gonna be honest with you. I wonder if I'll ever see any of you in person again. But in light of the situation that we're in, I am very happy that they're putting on a show, regardless, because there's no basketball, there's no football, there's no baseball, there's nothing.
There's no basketball. There's no basketball. The Lakers are
Tangent,
going on topic. 1 second. The Lakers are supposed to win the fucking championship this year.
the Lakers were supposed to win the championship this year. That's true. Corona went and messed it up. Definitely.
It's still gonna happen. Just give us some time. Just give us a little time. We got it. LeBron and here. We with you, LA all day.
Word up. The Mets probably would have made the playoffs this year. Maybe.
Probably.
And then disappointed they always do to me.
Well, you gotta keep
trying. A whole nother rant. But yeah, the Mets be playing. They get moves up and then new. Every time the Mets. Every time.
That's okay because see, I'll be a Met fan for life because they keep my property taxes low. So hey.
No, the Mets. They're my team too. They just be annoying the hell out of me. Like guys.
Of course, you root for the home team all day, but then we end up.
Hey, listen, as long as nobody cheat, y'all be good. You heard? Yeah.
Word, like the Astros.
Y'all be good, yeah.
Like the Astros right now. What up, Texas? Right? Word up. But anyway, it was a pleasure, you guys, as it always is. Thank you very much. Now let's let everybody know that they have to keep their hands clean. Please.
With hot water and soap scrub, please.
Yes.
25, 30 seconds.
40 seconds if you want to just be extra clean. Right? But then put on some moisturizer because all our hands is getting ashy. And this is good. This is real good if you ain't got no soap and water. But don't count on this. Don't count on this alone because it'll fuck you up if you put too much.
Wait. Cap all that. Chris just said we can have unpopular review NBA and MLB edition. Heard you. Work on that.
Oh no, we were starting that. We was definitely starting that before. It just didn't get any push.
Hashtag we can do that. More on this later.
Right. No, I'm with that. I'm definitely with that. But anyway, all right. So everybody stay home, stay safe, enjoy yourselves. Wait for us because we always got something to talk about. We always on a tangent if I'm on at least. So we always having fun. We always having a good time. So stay tuned and we will see y'all soon. All right. Now woo! Okay, which one is this?